All right, ladies and gentlemen, I teased it a bit in the last week's episode of the PokerNews podcast, and I'm very excited to have one Justin Smith, you might know him as BoostedJ, to join me to talk about the big announcement that is a movie coming about Doyle Brunson's life. Before we get into that, Justin, how you doing?
Pretty good. Just getting my day started, and really happy to be here.
It's exciting to talk to you for a number of reasons. I obviously remember you from your poker playing career back in the early kind of 2010s, but you've been out of the game for quite a while now, focusing more on a different career. What can you tell the listeners who might remember you from poker but might not be familiar with what you're up to nowadays? Can you give us a little update?
Yeah, I've been kind of phased out of poker sometime around 6 years ago, and kind of had an off year or two, but still had some stuff running in the background as far as films go. I started producing films. Actually, my first one was 12 years ago. I can't believe how long ago it was, but it ran concurrently a bit with my poker career, and it all started when I moved to LA. When I turned 21, I moved to LA. I wasn't sure if I was going to move to LA or Vegas, but somewhere where there's, live casinos where I could finally play legally. Decided on LA, and through the games that are somewhat well known out here, I met some film related people, and that kind of inspired what I'm doing now, which is producing films. And past 4 or 5 years, I've got more into writing films and TV shows, and it's been a journey, just like maybe any other job or whatever. I kind of hate the word job, but whatever it is that you do, it takes a while for it to all come together. And it's I guess my partner's one of his main things to say is you're only as good as your last one. So like every single movie is like a fresh movie. So you gotta like give it your all, just like in a poker game, I guess. Like
Sure.
Doesn't matter if you won the last tournament, or it doesn't matter if you had a big winning session in your last session. It's all about what you do in this session. So trying to be hyper focused on every single one that I'm involved in, and yeah.
Well, it was coincidental that I reached out to you. So I'd seen you on social media, and it was just one of those like, man, I don't know what he's up to. I know he's working in film. Let me reach out. And it just so happened when we connected, that's when this Doyle Brunson movie news was coming out. I remember a picture that you had put on social media a few months back of yourself, Ted Field, who is your business partner, and a Hollywood veteran when it comes to producing movies, with Doyle having lunch months ago. So the pieces started to come together. Tell us a little bit about what interested you in pursuing a movie about Doyle Brunson's life, and then how it all came together. Obviously you went and talked to the man himself.
Well, yeah, it is coincidental, by the way. I'm not sure if I even believe you that you didn't somehow get like a leak somehow or something, that you just coincidentally randomly hit me up like the day before the press release was set to go out. But yeah, apparently so, because someone else from another publication in poker hit me up too, coincidentally, and apparently had no idea. It was a big coincidence, I guess. But yeah, and then others started hitting me up after it came out. But yeah, it was very nice of you to reach out, and very cool. And yeah, I mean, the way that it went down was I'm pretty good friends with Mike Svobodny. He also goes by people call him Svobo, and I'm not sure if you've ever heard his name before, but he's kind of a legend in gambling for a long time. Has a big track record of being involved in lots of things. So I had to decline a phone call. They're trying to interrupt us. I don't know if that flashed the screen, but Svobo and I speak on a very regular basis, and I never really thought to do a Doyle movie, to be honest. I thought it was maybe off limits or something. I don't know, because I just felt like, I don't know. Maybe that's what I felt. I'm not sure really what I felt. I never even, I have a lot of ideas. I've got a notepad of ideas for movies that go very, very long. I had a few meetings with Phil Ivey about his movie. And I was very anxious to do that one. But it didn't work out that way. But I have a long list of movies that I want to make that I don't have time to do, or I'm trying to get around to, or trying to build it in my life. But the Doyle one wasn't on there, and I don't know how it wasn't on there. Now that I'm involved in it, I think I just kind of, for whatever reason, maybe subconsciously, I felt like it was like just not available or out of reach in some kind of way, because I just felt like it just would have been done if it could be done already. But I think it was a confluence of events that happened. But Svobo is, good friends with, I think Jack Binion, and Jack and Doyle are like best friends. They kind of just pulled me into it and asked if I would be interested in, producing it. And Svobo suggested me writing it. He's read a few scripts that I've written before. I've got a few, actually 2 movies. I found out this morning actually about the second one, but 2 movies that I've written are going into production this year. I've been very fortunate to have great collaborators and learning. I used to write novellas as a kid, but obviously then poker took over and whatnot. But got back into it when I transitioned out of poker. But I digress. The point is that Svobo finally set up a meeting with Brian Ballsberg and famed superstar, super agent of poker, who I actually kind of met for the first time a very long time ago, like when I was 18. So we reconnected, and he said that Doyle and he could meet, after Ted and I had an initial phone call with them. And I guess, it just got very real very fast. Ted and I flew there for the day. We almost missed our flight. We were not late, but we were sitting there by the gate, and I was on a phone call, and we weren't paying attention, and we almost just sat there and let our plane pull away from the terminal, and we were the last people. We really barely made it. I mean, they kind of opened it up for us. Ted and I were very happy that we didn't miss that flight. We flew in to Vegas and had lunch with Brian and Doyle, and flew back. I've done a couple same day round trips to Vegas before, back in my day, and we had a great lunch, and it was great to see Doyle again. I hadn't seen him in quite a few years, and we just had a great lunch. Ted is the best film partner I've ever worked with, by far. It's incredible. So, I think it's critical. We believe it's critical with any, real person story, to handle it with extreme delicacy and care and respect. And that's the main thing that we wanted to talk to Doyle about on that day, and that's what we did. But the meeting came after us actually, learning more about him from reading his book and stuff. And we're not adapting the book, but it's Doyle's life story. And I just found out a lot of things about Doyle that I actually didn't really know, and I don't think anyone else knows, to be honest. The main thing that I ever knew about him was you just hear about his story's crazy, but then you don't really necessarily hear details. So you're just like, okay, you've got something in your head, but now I've dug into the details, and without saying too much more, I think it's just really cool how we're going to be able to connect it all. And I think it's really interesting, and I think it's just going to be very, very happy. You know, I've been approached many times about doing gambling oriented movies for kind of obvious reasons. Hollywood loves gambling, loves poker, as people probably know by this point. At least people in the poker world get it. And I've been approached many times, but I'm just really, really excited to be doing this Doyle movie. This Doyle movie is epic. It's going to be an epic movie. It's an epic movie.
I think we're excited to have somebody who is going to do a gambling casino type movie who understands the industry, because so oftentimes people don't and they get it wrong. You've actually played high stakes poker. You've played against Doyle. I feel like this just gives you, inside track to understanding the material. I mean, you're going to write the script, help produce the film. It's in development, Radar Pictures, which has a strong track record, produced both Jumanji films, which were great, The Last Samurai, and The Wheel of Time on Amazon. It just seems like to me that all the ingredients are here for this recipe to be a huge success. And, to have Doyle's blessing and have him behind it, that's huge too.
Yeah. I mean, having Doyle's blessing is absolutely critical and necessary. It wouldn't be done without it. We don't really believe in doing anyone's story unless we collaborate fully with them. There's been other movies and miniseries done in recent time profiling different people, and I won't name the names of them, but there's a couple recently that have stirred up quite a bit of controversy because there's these very complicated life rights situations where people don't necessarily need permission for people of a certain stature, but it's not really appropriate, at least we don't think, to do them. So we stay away from them unless we have full faith and confidence in the person that we're doing it on. And thankfully Doyle's entrusted us to it, and we're going to definitely come through. There's something else that you said that I wanted to come back to. Just that, people don't know about Doyle's story, like poker people do. They hear, some legendary stories of his, but also I don't think people really know the man of Doyle,
Sure.
know him as like the gambler, but they don't really know the man. I didn't, until I got to know him a little bit more through this process. And I think it's all very connective, with the relationship of him as a person and him as a gambler and such. But, I think, and I was talking to my buddy Zach Stentz, who wrote Thor and X-Men, and we have him writing the Wheel of Time movie that we're doing, and I was talking to him about the Doyle movie and how I'm writing it, and he was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you get to write that." It's like it's a writer's dream to do a movie like Doyle's. Like I'm really, really excited about it. I'm working on quite a few projects right now, writing and producing, but the Doyle one is on top of my mind all day, every day. Just focusing on all the different angles of the movie.
I know you're going to keep us updated as the journey progresses. It's still early on. You've got to write the movie, but please do keep me and the Poker News audience updated. Before I let you go, I want to ask you one last question. And I know this is a question you might not be able to share too much about, but it's something we talked about on our last phone call. We see all the time people saying poker needs something like the Queen's Gambit, what they did for chess. They need some sort of poker, related kind of show that might help spark something. What are your thoughts on that? And is something like that maybe possible for us in the poker world?
I think that there's definitely a Queen's Gambit for poker that could very much happen. There's potentially something else brewing besides the Doyle movie. It's a totally different thing totally different. Very, very excited about it. These are such obvious things to do. A Doyle movie, duh. You know, it's going to be
Right.
amazing. You know what I mean? Like, as long as I don't totally ruin something, it's going to be amazing. You know, like it's just such an amazing story. It's an undefeatable story, and there's a few other gambling stories that I want to do out there that are you know, every story is its own story and how it comes together, and but you know, the Doyle one is public now, and but there could be other stories. There could be other gambling stories coming. It's gambling world's a fascinating place with fascinating characters, which at the end of the day, you know, the characters are, um, are critical, because you know, how we relate to people and how we relate to characters is very informative, and kind of it can be very fulfilling in digesting these characters in different ways. So but yeah, I'm very, very thankful to be in proximity of amazing people, which turns out that they might be good characters too.
Well, I'm certainly appreciative that you took some time to chat with myself and the Poker News audience to give us an update on yourself. It's good to see you and what you have in store coming up. And I think I speak for everybody when we say we're very excited about this Doyle Brunson project, and wish you the best of luck and can't wait to see it, you know, down the road when it eventually comes out.
I'm just over here quietly trying to do the best that I can every day, man. That's all I try to do. Nothing more. I'll be very excited, you know, when this comes to life, and any little bit that I can contribute to it, I'm gonna do everything that I can.
Anybody wanting to follow you, Justin is on Instagram at BoostedJ. There's some great photos up there of some of the travels and Hollywood exploits. So I highly recommend that. And as I said, Justin, thanks again for doing this, and definitely keep us updated on any news that might happen.
Yeah, check out this TV show I produced called Guardians of Justice on Netflix. I feel like the poker community might like it. Maybe not. Maybe you know, anything else I've been involved in, but Guardians of Justice just came out on Netflix, and it's a cool anime, you know, live action mashup that might be fun to check out. It's a wild ride. People are gonna hate it or love it. Very polarized.
I'll definitely check it out and shoot you a text and let you know my thoughts. It sounds like it's right up my alley.
Cool, man. Nice to see you, Chad.